I don't like either one of those dudes. I don't. If we're on, we're on. I don't.
I like both.
That's exciting. Good for you. What we got going on today?
What do you mean what we got going on today?
Literally, what I was exhausted. By the time I went home, I just passed out. I was like, I go to bed early. I was like sleep by 6, which means I was in bed by like 5:40.
I did not get to take a nap yesterday, which was hard, an arduous decision. But I took our friend to the airport, which was like great in the middle of the day. And then I came home and went for a run because it wasn't that humid out and it felt like a good day to go for a run.
Also.
And it was pleasant. And then I decided to start playing The Last of Us.
The video game.
On PS5.
Nice!
I decided there's so much conversation about people who played the game who are feeling a certain kind of way about season 2 of the show. So I decided I'm gonna play the game so I can figure it out myself. So right now I'm in a portion of the game that like I know what's happened, but it's kind of, it's 2 storylines.
You don't need it to be the exact same thing, do you?
No.
Yeah.
No. So I just want to see how I feel playing it. I'm only playing the second one. I was gonna play the first one and the second one, but then I couldn't find the first one. I think Chris might have like sold it back, which he does sometimes, but we had the second one, so I loaded it up, played it for like an hour. It's scary.
Oh.
I jumped.
Yeah, I can't play
Chris said
those games.
I wasn't gonna like it because it was gonna scare me too much, but I'm gonna try to desensitize myself to it.
I can't play it. Resident Evil.
Can't do it.
Can't.
They
do
jump out
those
of anywhere
games.
and then they bite you and there's just blood everywhere
I
and I'm like,
can't.
ah!
I can't do it. No.
Ah!
That's how I know when the zombie apocalypse happens, I'm just not built for it.
Exactly.
Because I can't handle the game. What was the song?
The song is Boys by Britney Spears. Boys, sometimes a girl just needs one. Boys to love her and to hold.
What was that off of? Do you remember?
Boys, Overprotected. Is that the album?
I'm not sure.
It's a great song.
All right.
I get really sad these days listening to Britney Spears because she was so good.
I mean, she still might be.
Okay. I appreciate the thought. What's up, everybody? It is Friday, May 23rd. It is going to be a good day. Jessica Benson with you from the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. CJ Hurt behind the glass coming up on today's show. It is Friday. The Oklahoma City Thunder did it again. They go up 2-0 on the Minnesota Timberwolves. We get game 2 in the Eastern Conference Finals later tonight. We'll get into all the NBA action from yesterday, along with the all-defensive teams were named. Jaren Jackson Jr., on one of them, he's second team. Will he be all NBA when those get announced later tonight? We'll have a discussion on that. Whitaker will join us to continue all the NBA talk. We'll also get his thoughts on the college football playoff news that came out yesterday. Some WNBA action from last night. The Fever won a game despite Caitlin Clark not making a 3. The New York Liberty made 19 threes in a big win over the Chicago Sky. And then finally, Steve Macey will be joining us. He is the Memphis Showboats Vice President of Team Business and Event Operations. The Showboats have 2 more home games left this season. We'll talk to him, catch up about the team, and then it'll be Friday. It'll be the weekend. You know what we say. TGIF. TGIF.
You
always look at
keep
me
saying it. I'm looking at you because I have
You
no
never
place else
say
to look.
anything. Is your child a natural-born entertainer? Now is their chance to join the most talented youth dance crew in the Mid-South, the Blue Bunch. The Blue Bunch entertains Grizz Nation with their energetic dance routines and even have the opportunity to collaborate on performances with leading artists in the entertainment industry. Kids ages 7 to 17 are invited to show off their skills and personality for their chance to join the next generation of NBA entertainers. Open auditions are Saturday, June 28th. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions now for more information.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Bain drives.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jaren with a knockaway.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go, go! Let's go!
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans. Want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
This week, we're going to run down the hits and the misses from WrestleMania 41.
The main event, NXT title on the line, Obafemi versus Trick Williams versus Javon Evans. One of the greatest triple threat matches I've ever seen in my life.
I'm shocked.
And it made history because it's the first time there's 3 black men highlighting a NXT pay-per-view.
Okay.
That was dope too.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Feels great to feel the sunshine. Gotta own the day like it's all mine. Just got paid in his own time. Been working hard, I've been on the grind. I deserve this feeling, having my way. I've been on this healing. This is my day. The sun's out, let's have a little fun now. I wanna let it all out. That's what's it all about. Cause I deserve this feeling, have it my way. I deserve this healing. This is my day.
Grind City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. We have made it to the end of another week. The Oklahoma City Thunder have put themselves in a position where they are up 2-0 after last night's 118-103 win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think some people may have overthought this Oklahoma City Thunder team. They're really good. They are really, really good. And we have spent so much time, CJ, focused on the parity of this postseason and what feels like a wide open field, but I don't think the field is as wide as we have made it. I think the Thunder are just awesome. The rest of the field can be wide, but the Thunder continue to show why they won 68 games in the regular season and are now in a position where they are heavily favored to win an NBA championship this year.
Yeah, let's see them do it.
Correct.
But up to this point, how many teams would you say would give the Thunder problems? I think there's one,
We
and
saw
this is
it.
the Nuggets. And I'm not sure if there was anybody else in the Western Conference in this year's playoffs that would do it. I don't think the Lakers would have done it. I'm not sure.
The Clippers are the only one I find myself a little hung up on. But yes, no, I ultimately agree with
the
you.
Warriors would not have done it. So
I think the Warriors might have given, no, I'm not saying they would have done it. Absolutely not. Maybe a little bit more of a fight than this Timberwolves team. Listen, I called the Oklahoma City Thunder artificial intelligence this week, and I am sticking to it. Is OKC even a real place? I don't know. All those blue shirts in one arena yesterday looked pretty computer digitalized to me. I have found myself asking, are the Thunder real? Is Oklahoma City real? Can we start this like the whole "Are Birds Real" movement? I would like to start the "Is OKC." Did they take so long to name an MVP because they were trying to make sure that everything was put in place so that we don't ask too many questions on is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a person or is he a robot? But I was fortified in my opinion that this team is AI because they are a computer who takes data in. And you mentioned the Nuggets, and I think that series against the Nuggets was so important because they took data in and they got stronger from it, and specifically the zone, which they struggled with against the Denver Nuggets. But now, after going through that experience, any other zone that gets thrown their way, like the one the Minnesota Timberwolves have tried to deploy a bit, just looks like easy peasy lemon squeezy for them to figure out.
They struggled with that zone for like a game and a half.
They cooked the numbers.
And then they were done struggling with it, and the Nuggets just refused to come out of it. The Nuggets decide, hey, we'll just die by this zone, and that's what happened to them in Game 7. Why in the hell you would ever, after seeing that, say, okay, we are going to deploy the zone for stretches of this game?
Right.
Is against this team is beyond me. I don't fully grasp that.
No.
I don't. And give the Thunder credit for just playing simple-ass basketball. What do you do when you face a zone? Put the ball in the middle of the damn court, turn around, be an athlete, make a play.
Attack the gaps, make the pass, make the shot.
It's not hard to beat a zone, and the Thunder are proving it right now. They're just dismantling this thing.
Poor Mike Conley. Poor Mike Conley. He's running out of chances. I want Mike Conley to win a championship someday. I don't think it's going to be this year.
I brought up again, plus minus is whatever plus minus is. He was noticeably, the team played better with Conley on the court.
That's why he has to be on the court.
And I'm not sure why that is or what's going on there, but it is noticeable when Mike Conley is and is not on that court, what the Timberwolves look like and what they're doing.
But it's a defensive black hole. Like, anytime he's going one-on-one with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Jalen Williams, like, he's getting cooked, but you can't take him off the court because you're already limited in the ball handlers that you have, and you need somebody to run the offense. And Anthony Edwards is trying his best, but when you look at, like, Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, and even Mike Conley, from a scoring standpoint, those three went 6 of 25 from the field. Like, we keep having these others numbers that just don't level up to allowing the Timberwolves to ultimately compete. And this was a game for a quarter and a half. It was fun for a quarter and a half, but then we saw the Thunder do what they do time and time again, and they just keep coming and coming. And next thing you know, it was close towards the end of the first half, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander makes that three. There was a turnover on the other end. I think it was a DiVincenzo offensive foul. Thunder get the ball back. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander gets to the line, makes 2 shots. It's an 8-point game at half, but it's an 8-point game that feels like a 10 to 14-point game. And then you get to the midway point of the third quarter, and they just take off. And it's almost exactly what happened in Game 1, and they ultimately outscore the Wolves 35-21 in that quarter. That's a 14-point difference. It was a 14-point difference in the third quarter in Game 1, and you watch them continuously find ways to just swarm them defensively, make them so uncomfortable. They had 22 points off of turnovers last night. And when you look at the Thunder's assist-to-turnover ratio is nuts. They had 30 assists on 45 made shots. They are moving the basketball so consistently where you're not even able to say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, first game since being named MVP, and he was awesome. He had 38 points on 12 of 21 shooting, 13 of 15 from the free throw line, 8 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 steals, his 4th postseason game with 20-plus points and no more than a single turnover. And yet it's truly everybody. It is Jalen Williams with 26, 10, and 5. It is Chet Holmgren was awesome last night. Chet Holmgren's 22 points. What he lacks in bulkiness and physicality, he just moves so well. And finding his spots on those cuts, he had a couple monster dunks. Obviously what he does from an anchor standpoint for their defense, he just gives them so many options. And then it's Caruso, and it's Wallace, and it's just everybody. And you're like, God bless. It's really tough to match up against them, and the Timberwolves are a mess because of it.
You play zone because you can't keep dudes out of the paint. And that's clear. The Thunder had almost 60 paint points in Game 2. But you can't keep, usually it is like, all right, they've got a big guy down there who's just gobbling us all the way up. It's crazy to think, or to see rather, SGA come out of there with 6 or 7 made field goals in the paint. Jalen Williams with 6 or 7 made field goals in the paint. Chet with 6 made field goals in the paint. And you're looking around, it's like, oh, okay, y'all, not only can you not stop Chet and you can't stop SGA, but y'all have got nothing for Jalen Williams when he decides to put his head down. Also, what are you going to do? Whatever it is, it can't be going back to that zone because they're picking that thing apart. So you've got to find some people out there who with some gumption who are going to say, all right, put on your big boy britches. Let's just keep these dudes in front of him. Shai had a great game. Shai's not lighting it up from 3. No. And by not lighting it up, it's not like he's missing a whole bunch.
He's not taking
any. They're not forcing him to take any. Give that man a space. Give him a large gap and say, all right, Shea, we know you're beating us going to the rim and getting downhill in the mid-range. Tremendous mid-range game also. Beat us from deep. Let's see you do that. We're not saying that you can't, but damn it, we know you're beating us the other way. Let's see if we can pack this paint some playing man. Do the same thing with Jay Will also. Yeah. Or J Dub, whichever Jalen he is, the one that looked like me.
The main one.
Yeah, do the same thing with him. Say, hey, damn it, we're going to keep people in front of us. Anthony Edwards, unfortunately, you're not going to get much of a break. You're just
throwing
not.
2 to 3 bodies at him every
You're just
single
not.
time.
So we need you to be great on offense, and we need you to be great on defense. Yeah. You tell me which one you want to guard. Do you want to guard and keep Jalen Williams in front of you, or do you want to guard and keep Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in front of you? Pick one. We'll put the other dude on the other one. But you can pick, but you've got to be on one of those, and you've got to be locked in defensively. And then you kind of let the chips fall where they may. The Thunder are built perfectly for whatever this Timberwolves team wants to do defensively because they can get downhill. And then when Rudy comes over, you brought up how well Chet cuts. He just finds the open spot, and he is agile. He's a big that is agile who can get up, bend his body, twist his body, and explode and finish at the rim.
Gumby-like.
He is Gumby.
He is Gumby.
I didn't
Chet
think about that.
Gumby.
Chet is Gumby. And so he's finishing at the rim. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
They've taken Rudy Gobert's rim protection
and
out of this.
Neutralized it completely. Yeah, the Timberwolves just look dazed, they looked confused, they look without answers, and when you're without answers and you need to win for the next 5 games in order to make it to the NBA Finals, it's not a real positive place to be. And on top of that, they're frustrated. They are beyond, they've been frustrated with the Thunder all season for this series. You had Anthony Edwards throwing the ball at SGA in game 1. You've had Chris Finch going on multiple rants about how frustrating it is to have to deal with the physicality of this Thunder team, and then on the flip side of that, what you get called for playing against this Thunder team. And then last night, you finally get to the point where Jaden McDaniels literally just shoved Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And I appreciated it because at least you saw a moment where he was inspired to do something. And he said afterwards, he was like, I just wanted to foul him for real. I just wanted to foul him for real. His quote, I wasn't even mad. I just had fouls to use. I don't really buy the wasn't even mad part of the equation. The team is mad, or maybe mad isn't the right word, but they're annoyed. This is a moment of someone who is annoyed. Make it count. Make it count. It's not overtly dirty. You're not going to hurt him. But you did actually foul Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in that situation. And I was like, oh, damn. This might be falling apart.
Listen, refs, NBA refs, and to me, they exist to keep control of the game. And so if there's somebody doing something that's not being called and the game is still under control, somebody doing something that you don't like that's not being called, in this case, Shea on the drive, hooking players, if that's not being called and it's aggravating y'all and it's annoying to y'all, but the game is under control, there's no reason for the refs to start calling that. Now, you start knocking dudes on the ground, then the refs are like, all right, we need to start calling some of these because we're losing control of this. Make them make the calls. Also, you're going to get called for a foul anyway. Make the damn foul count. The second he bumps into you and you hear the whistle, don't stop, don't look around, follow through. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying take anybody out, don't injure anybody, absolutely not. But there are cases where it is very clearly a foul. You know it's a foul. He hits you, you hit him. It's a foul. You hear the whistle. He steps back into a fade, smack the hell out of his elbow. Give him a little extra little tug in the midsection. Make him lose his balance a little bit. You're getting called for the foul anyway. Don't let up. Like, it is time for you to be the much more physically aggressive team. You're down 2-0. The series hadn't started because the home team hadn't lost yet. But, like, if you want to keep the series from starting, you got to be more physical, especially with
But
Shea.
not with Scott Foster.
I mean, sometimes
he's gotten his one bloody nose.
Sometimes you got to send the refs a message, man.
Lou Dort hurts everyone. You heard it here first. We saw it in the Grizzlies series. We've seen it in their other opportunities throughout the entire season. And then finally, he even took out Scott Foster. I was like, oh, God. If this was a Grizzlies game, I would have been so annoyed because the delay of that kind of a delay is the one you certainly don't anticipate at the beginning of a game. And you're like, this is going to add 10 to 15. This is going to ruin the tour. My God. Anyway.
Scott Foster was out there, took it like a champ, and kept on.
He did.
Running
That
around.
blood was trickling. You saw the little Little sprinkles of blood on the court. They got it. The infectious disease specialist comes out, wipes it up, gets that nose taken care of. We will get game 3 between these two teams, I believe, on Sunday. They get a day off, don't they?
Yeah, I think they get a travel day, practice day, and then they play. So I think that the next game is Sunday. That is my...
Wrong. It's
Saturday.
You would be wrong. See, this is insane. I thought certainly once we got to the conference finals, they would get a travel day another day. No, but it is Saturday at 7:30 on ABC. I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. Right back to it. Make this one snappy as it pertains to the Thunder and the Timberwolves. Pacers-Knicks game 2 will be tonight. We'll talk about that in a bit. But first of all, the NBA's all defensive teams were named yesterday, and we did find out Jaren Jackson Jr., second team all defense. Make it a thing. You know, we always go first team. Second team. It's still impressive. Like, don't get me wrong. Only 10 players get this honor every year, and it's always cool to be included and for Jaren Jackson Jr. to be on the second team along with Tuamani Kamara, Rudy Gobert, Jalen Williams, and Ivica Zubac. The first team consisted of Dyson Daniels, Lou Dort, Draymond Green, Evan Mobley, and Amen Thompson. For Jaren Jackson Jr. in 7 years to have the following resume is very impressive. Second team all defense this year. He's a 2-time All-Star. He's a 2-time first team all defense, 2-time leader in blocks, made the all rookie first team back in his first year in the league. Like, that is one of the best players in the NBA. Yes, CJ.
You left off Defensive Player of the Year.
And Defensive Player of the Year. And was in contention for Defensive Player of the Year this season. And I do think him ending up on the second team all defense is indicative of the fallout that both Jaren Jackson Jr. and the Grizzlies had in the latter portion of the season. A myriad of factors will ultimately play into if Jaren Jackson Jr. is awarded all NBA tonight. 15 players will be awarded between teams 1, 2, and 3 for all NBA. And that is the big one for Jaren Jackson Jr. because a reminder that if he makes all NBA, he will be eligible for the Supermax, and his value could be anywhere between $300, $350 million, and they could sign him this summer and get him wrapped up for another 4 to 5 years and all the good stuff that comes with that. And it felt like for the good portion, at least the first half of the season, it felt all but destined that Jaren was putting together an all NBA season because he was having one of his best offensive seasons along with his best defensive seasons. And then the bottom kind of fell out, not just for him, but for the team in its entirety. And you slip from the 2 seed in the West to ultimately having to play a play-in game to get into the postseason against the Dallas Mavericks. You get swept by the Thunder in the first round. And even though the postseason doesn't impact the voting per se, it's the slippage from 2 down into fighting for your play-in life that certainly does. And even Jaren Jackson Jr., from how efficient and how much growth he had shown in his offensive game for the first portion, once the Grizzlies' offense kind of shifted in the second half coming out of the All-Star break. Jaren had the ankle injury. He comes back from that, how much that impacted him. But ultimately, I mean, the narrative of Jaren went from surefire All-NBA season to I am not sure if we will see Jaren Jackson Jr. on one of the All-NBA teams later tonight. What's your prediction?
No.
You think no?
No.
It's so easy to name 15 quick before you get to Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah, and that doesn't take away from the season he had, which in its totality was a pretty good season. Towards the end, it was bad, and the team was bad, and I think that's going to come back and haunt him. It'll be, what have you done for me lately? If the team had a struggle midway in the season, if Jaren had been struggling in mid-December or something like that, then and the team finished strong, then I'd feel better about it. But like they struggled late. He struggled late, as particularly coming off of that ankle injury. It just wasn't the same. So I'm gonna say no.
I think your first team, obviously SGA and Jokic, and then Tatum, Giannis, Donovan Mitchell. That's what I feel like I saw in most ballots.
I think I can get behind that. Yes.
And then you get to like Ant, Cat, Cade, Cunningham, Halliburton, Brunson.
All right.
And then you get to like LeBron, Steph, Harden.
He did a lot.
And then this is where Mobley.
All right.
And then I think Şengün, when you look at the latter part of the season, or like even a Sabonis. You could get into the weeds of a Sabonis, Şengün, Jaren. Yeah. And so perhaps there's enough people who had that same argument, and it lended to them ending up on Jaren Jackson Jr., where he is on the third team. But
it's positionless, so
it is positionless.
Got to throw Trae Young in there. He'll have the stats that'll jump out at you. The Jarvis Greer and the Grizz Beat panel talked about this on Grizz Beat this week. Grind City Media subsidiary. Check out. They actually did their list. Their All NBAs,
Okay.
the first, second, and third team. You can go and find that conversation on Grind City Media and give a listen to Jarvis in the game.
We'll find out if Lang Whitaker thinks Jaren Jackson Jr. will be named to All NBA later tonight.
He was on the panel.
I'll find out what he said
Yeah.
on the panel. And we'll catch up with Lang. I believe he is at the Grind City Media Resort and Spa. So we'll see where Lang is at. We'll talk to him about Jaren Jackson Jr., about the NBA Conference Finals thus far. Plus, some big college football playoff news that came out yesterday. The seeding of teams done by rankings alone for next year's college football playoff is done. It was a one-and-done situation. There will not be a Boise State or an Arizona State who gets rewarded with a bye in following college football playoffs. Mr. SEC, Mr. Georgia himself, Lang Whitaker, will give his take when we come back.
Talk a little bit about Jalen Wells. Jalen Wells, man, he finished third in the balloting for NBA Rookie of the Year. He's going to be back. He's going to play in Summer League, and maybe he'll shoot some left-handed jumpers out there. Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Creed. By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With very special guest, Daughtry. And Mammoth. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Creed with Daughtry and Mammoth. The Summer of '99 tour.
The First Ladies of FedEx Forum, the Grizz Girls, are known across the NBA for setting the standard for professional dance and entertainment, and they are looking for dancers to join their team for the 2025-2026 season. With the chance to gain professional dance experience and connect with the Memphis community, auditioning for the Grizz Girls is an opportunity you do not want to miss. Come show up at Open Call Auditions Saturday, July 26th at the Memphis Sports and Events Center. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions now for more information.
1, 2, 3. Ready, go.
Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
The other thing that came out this week that we were talking about innovation and Nike and all that, they dropped these $900 hyper boots. That
900.
I mean, they're a recovery shoe apparently that you wear after sports, whatever.
Who's buying it? Because all the athletes that we see, they're gonna get seated this. So who's gonna actually pay $900 for this?
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
How about Mr. Irrelevant coming from the Memphis Tigers? Yeah, how about that? New England Patriots
Second
took
time.
Memphis defensive back Kobe Minor with the 257th overall pick.
If you're the player getting drafted at that spot, it's almost better to go undrafted and pick a place as an undrafted free agent to sign with where you have a better chance
But
of
you get a lot of stuff. You get a parade. I think you go to Disneyland, I believe.
Mr. Irrelevant goes to Disney?
I think so.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Welcome back. It is Friday. That means it's time to catch up with Lang Whitaker. He joins us each and every Friday. He joins us now. Lang, where can we find you on this beautiful morning?
I'm at the Grind City Resort and Casino. I made a big profit because I sold all my unders I had on UNC football. I don't know if you've seen, like, ever since the whole what's his girlfriend's name?
Jordan Hudson. Jordan Hudson.
Ever since Jordan became like a thing, people are going heavy on the unders on UNC football now. And so I had already gone heavy on them, so I was able to sell them at a premium and turn a little profit and be able to spend a weekend down here at the beautiful Grind City Resort and Casino. Not a fake background today, by the way. This is I'm actually sitting out by the water.
Wait, seriously?
No, Jessica. Yeah. No, it is real. Look.
Yeah, it is real. It's moving, CJ. It's moving. That's real. That's crazy. That's beautiful. I did think it was fake at first, but now I'm
sitting at a table. Oh my God. Laptop's at a table.
Well, I would like to be there. It's a generally cloudy day here in Memphis, but that's okay. The sun will come out later. I was going to remind people right off the top that they should absolutely be subscribing to the Grind City Media newsletter, which is written by Lang, a little Lang's World on a Friday, because if you sign up for that, you will find out incredible things like the fact that we are in a period that began on May 20th and ends on May 29th. So 10 straight days where the numerical writing of every day is the same forwards as it is backwards. We are in an anagram time period. So like today is 5/23/25, and it's the same forward and backwards. May 20th through May 29th. That was in the newsletter.
Yeah, I saw that tweet and I was like, what do I do with this information? Oh, I know. Let's pass it on to the Grind City Media newsletter subscribers.
That's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. All right, we were talking before the break about Jaren Jackson Jr., his odds of making an All-NBA team tonight. If you think that him being second team all defense is an indicator that perhaps there was a drop-off with Jaren Jackson Jr. during the season that we could now see impacted with his ultimate ability to make All-NBA. Will we hear his name tonight? Or I guess see it on a graphic, I should say?
We did our list on Grisbeat the other day. I had Jaren third team. And the way I figured it was like, I think what it's going to come down to is if the voters put two guys from different teams on there. So, like, does Evan Mobley make it along with Donovan Mitchell? Does Jalen Williams make it along with SGA? There's a couple of different guys like that where you're looking like, this team had an amazing season, but do we reward two guys or just one guy make it? If you're going with like one guy from every team, I think Jaren makes it, and I think he makes it like it comes down to him and like some bonus on that third team, and you probably reward the winning player and winning team in that situation. But I don't know, like you guys were talking about before the break. Jaren he was so good for the first like 2/3 of the season, and then he had the injury, and then there was the coaching change, and the way like the offense was run probably wasn't as like beneficial to his game those last couple of weeks of the season, and it changed. I also think, when I did that slam cover story on Jaren was right when he was rolling, and he was talking about in the interview, he talked about how teams were guarding him differently, and how he was starting to see a lot of double teams and having to make decisions, and that was the next part of his game. He thought that he could develop was being able to take on those double teams and pass out to the right players. And I think you saw a lot of that, teams doing that to him the last few weeks of the season, which probably all had an effect. I don't know how healthy he was post-ankle injury either, but all that plays part of it. But like you guys were talking about, there's this recency bias, right? Like we remember how it ended, not how it began. And for the first 2/3 of the season, I mean, that dude was a problem every single night. Like there's a reason the Grizzlies won 48 games. So I don't know, like if he's going to make it or not. To me, if he makes his third team, and I think he deserves it based on the complete body of work. Like if you throw out those last couple of weeks, or weigh them against the first 4 months, I think he definitely was one of the 15 best players in the NBA this season.
We did an exercise a few weeks ago where we named the season leaders in every category. Like Jacob had every category up, and we had to guess who filled that spot. And I actually was surprised to find out Jaren Jackson Jr. did lead the league in total fouls this year. And so something that had been such an improvement early on, obviously, like reared its ugly head, so much so in the latter half of the season that he ended up leading the league in the category. And he led the league in flagrant fouls, too, which was shocking to me. We were like, Draymond Green, Dylan Brooks, Draymond Green, Dylan Brooks. Lou Dort, are you sure it's not one of these three? And no, it was Jaren. But I do think it just shows just truly like the difference, because what we saw from the first half of the year in terms of like mass improvements, both in fouling and also the leaps that he seemed to be taking in his offensive game, really trickled out the latter half. And it is a what have you done for me lately?
Yeah, I think the foul thing is like, and this is just anecdotal. I don't have the data here, but it feels like a lot of those fouls were him, like, not even on block shots. It was like him reaching for balls, like when guys were driving. It was a lot of like below the waist fouls, which that's kind of a new thing for him. I don't remember that being a problem. It was always contesting shots that was getting him in trouble previously. I wonder, like the last couple of weeks of the season, once Coach Isalo took over, he seemed a lot more willing to play Jaren with 5 fouls, with 2 fouls, 3 fouls at the end of the half, and give Jaren the leash to try and play without fouling. And I wonder, like, how that'll change things going forward. Mm-hmm. You assume that's what he'll do next season too. But yeah, the foul thing, that was kind of odd. And I wonder if that's also defensively, with Jaren playing the 5 a lot more and trying to take advantage of mismatches and not being able to play that off ball like defense and come over and help when he won Defensive Player of the Year like that. Now it was changing sort of his responsibilities on the defensive end, and I assume that probably had a part in all that also. If he doesn't make All-NBA, obviously this is like the next big order of business for the Grizzlies, because if he makes All-NBA, then he's eligible for the Supermax. If he doesn't make All-NBA, then they could sign him to something much lower than that, or they could punt till next season. Both parties could punt till next season. Then he would be an unrestricted free agent. Do you go about it then? What's your prediction? Like, if he does not find himself being All-NBA, is there a new contract in place for Jaren by the end of the season or the off season? I don't know. Like, if you're Jaren, do you bet on yourself? Or, I remember I had a discussion with a long-time, big-time NBA agent once about all this. And he was representing a guy, this was 10 years ago, who was going to be a restricted free agent. And I was like, why wouldn't you play one more year? The guy had just come off an all-star season. I was like, why wouldn't you play one more year? Try to have another great season. Obviously, this guy is hot. He's playing great right now. He's figured things out. Why wouldn't you just take one more year, bet on yourself, and then try to get a bigger contract? And he was like, because you never leave money on the table. Who knows what happens? Right. Injuries, there's so many things that can happen or go wrong. And he was like, if the money's there, you go take it and then figure out all the other stuff later. So I don't know if I'm Jaren, like, do you want to bet on yourself and do it? Or do you want to take, what's still going to be a huge amount of money that's going to be available to you, even if you don't make an All-NBA team this year. So it's up to him. I would probably take the money, the long-term money. You're in a good place. There's not a lot of other spots where you're going to go, I wouldn't think, that are going to be such a winning situation. A team that's won 45 plus games for years now. I don't know where else you would go where you could make similar amount of money, but also have a chance to win. Not where you're going to go and play a lot of minutes and be a 30-win team every season. For the Oklahoma City Thunder, coming off of last night's win, it does feel, you never want to say it feels all but concluded. This is the NBA where we just saw a 14-point lead evaporate in less than 3 minutes and a 9-point lead go away in less than a minute when it comes to the Knicks losing to the Pacers. But this is why we don't speak in absolutes or conclusions. But it feels pretty written in the stars that this Oklahoma City Thunder team will make it to the NBA Finals and will continue to be favored to win the championship this year. What has impressed you the most about the Thunder from the time we saw them as they swept the Grizzlies in the first round to where they grew through that series against the Nuggets and now sit in a place where they've been able to have pretty easy blowouts against the Timberwolves in these first 2 games? Well, first of all, I want to make clear I don't like watching the Thunder. It's not fun for me to watch the Thunder play. I brought this up on Grizzbeat the other day. CJ was cracking up. It feels like they play a sort of a dishonorable style of basketball. All the flopping, the way they play defense, they just foul and foul and foul and foul, and the referees just can't call every foul. And they have so many players that if anyone gets in foul trouble, bring someone else in. We'd try it again. The compliment I would give them is that it feels to me like when the Warriors were at their peak a decade ago, there was a certain inevitability to playing that Warriors team. They would hang around, and then boom, all of a sudden there's a 12-0 run or a 14-2 run or something like that, and the game's out of reach. And that feels like what the Thunder have unlocked is they can just stay in the games. It's close. all of a sudden, usually at the end of the first half or start in the third quarter, they have this run where they distance themselves and the game's out of reach. The other thing with them that's impressive is not just their depth, but the quality depth. They can go 11, 12 deep. They could they're playing Kenrich Williams and Isaiah Joe in this series, and those guys haven't played in the playoffs. They haven't needed them. So they have so many guys who can use and mix and match and put them in there. I know you guys were saying they're like an AI team.
They're my AI team.
They very much, it feels like if Severance had a basketball team, this is what it would be like. And I don't watch Severance, but the Thunder feel like what Severance is probably like. And
their fans feel like what an AI fan base. They clap at everything. They have their songs that they do. There's not one person in that arena who is not in that blue T-shirt last night. Not one.
No, I saw one person.
You found it's the Where's Waldo?
It's a guy who works. It was a guy who works for the NBA.
Oh, I saw that.
Who was sitting in the stands. Yeah.
I know the jersey that you're talking about, though, CJ. Yes. Well, that seems like something the AI fan base would do to throw us off their tracks.
And on top of all that, look at the coach, Mark Dagnall.
Yes.
Like, who is this guy? Like, is this guy AI generated? He looks like Mr. Bean. And he's over there he just silently, he doesn't do anything. He just stands there. You never see him yell, complain, cuss out the guys. Like, he's just kind of there, quietly observing. Like, he might be AI on top of all of this. So the whole thing feels very, I don't want to say I know it's organic in the way they built the team.
Right.
But it does feel sort of like
a machine.
Like, who are these things? Yeah. Like, what is, it's all like computer generated.
Yeah. As it pertains to Knicks Pacers, how on earth do the Knicks recover from losing in such spectacular and devastating fashion in overtime? 2 nights ago, they'll have to play again tonight. They're back at Madison Square Garden. That didn't help them. All the celebrities of Celebrity Row couldn't help them. Not even John Hamm even tried. Did you see that clip of John Hamm where the ball's going out of bounds and Tyrese Halliburton had a chance, maybe, of getting a hand on it, and Hamm just grabbed it?
Yeah, well, now the Knicks were more like the Tracy Morgan throwing up courtside version in that game one. The weird thing is, like, the Knicks did that to the Celtics in the last series, right? The Celtics had huge leads in those first couple games, and the Knicks were able to come back and put them away. And now it sort of happened to the team that did it to you. If I'm the Knicks, the thing that kind of stood out to me was the final score was 140 to 138 or something like that. It was Indiana scored 140 points.
Yeah.
Like, Tom Thibodeau must be sleepless for the last 2 nights. Because
138, 135.
He built his name on defense. That's what he does. He coaches defense. And to have a team that gives up 138 points in a playoff game, I know it's overtime, but still, 138 points is wild. And if you're Tom Thibodeau, that must be the thing that you're underlining to these guys is you got to play better defense against them. Yeah, they got hot down at the end, and they made all those threes and were able to get back into it, the Pacers. But if you're the Knicks, you got to be a better defensive team, and some of that causes problems. If you try to play Mitchell Robinson too much, it's kind of easy to hack a Robinson and get him out of the game and take the Knicks out of what they do offensively. But to have a team with all these guys who are good defenders, elite defenders, Josh Hart, Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson's a great defender. Like, all these guys, like you got to be able to match Indiana and their level of commitment and also control the pace a little bit. Like, the Pacers want to run it up and down, great, but you got to be able to play at your speed. And I think the Knicks, I don't think they're going to lose another game in this series. I hate to say it, but I think the Knicks are going to be able to. They'll be fine. It's just they had to take an embarrassing lump on their way to winning the Eastern Conference.
I'm done betting against the Voodoo Pacers. So we'll see. But it is very fun from a standpoint of, I look at this series and I enjoy watching, especially a conference finals or a finals, where I genuinely cannot make a definitive statement one way or the other. Like, oh, I really feel that the Knicks will advance, or oh, I really feel that the Pacers. It provides a level of just the unknown, and I like to go into the unknown this time of year.
At least one of the conference finals, right?
Right, exactly. If we're going to get a dud in one, I would, and usually it's the West and not the East, so I appreciate the switcheroo that we're getting this year. I did want to ask you, the Nuggets hired David Adelman yesterday to be their permanent head coach after he served as interim following the firing of Michael Malone. Obviously leads them to the second round of the playoffs, but he gets that tag to remove. And we have now seen him, Tomas Isolo here in Memphis, Doug Christie in Sacramento, and Mitch Johnson in San Antonio all be interim coaches who were ultimately promoted into the head coach role. Do you think this represents yet another like era shift in the NBA, where if you are one of these older coaches that finds himself fired, that you're now not returning to the well of those old guys, you're trying to look inward from your own organization? Or is this just a one-off year?
Maybe a little bit of both, but the thing that stands out to me is all four of those guys you mentioned, none of them have been head coaches before in the NBA. You know, they're all first-time head coaches. So these teams, I think to some extent, Jess, you look at like those guys who have been fired.
Yeah.
Look at a Mike Brown, a Mike Malone, these type of guys who are
Pop,
now out
who's
there.
bigger than anything.
Pop,
but he's done. Yeah, you're talking about the ones who are still available. Yeah,
the ones who are available, like even Taylor Jenkins. You know, like you know what you're going to get from these guys if you bring them in, and I think these franchises are like, look, we've had these guys now. We've had a turn with these guys with their systems, and you know what? Let's try something else. Like let's try something different. Let's be a little new and think outside the box. And I appreciate that. I like that these teams are going to try and do something a little different and be forward thinking, as opposed to just going and bringing in Mike Malone and having him yell and be grumpy for 4 years, or Mike Brown coming in and just running the Warriors system again. Like I think these teams have seen this now. On the flip side of that, you could look at like Cleveland, who went over and got Kenny Atkinson, who had been with Brooklyn and had been pretty successful there and took them to another level. So I think it really depends on the situation and the team there. But I do like the idea of guys who haven't been head coaches getting that shot in the NBA. That's kind of fun to me.
One last thing before I let you go. The college football playoff announced yesterday that they will now seed teams by ranking alone. So conference champions will no longer get a bye like we saw from Boise State last year, Arizona State. Also, according to multiple college football reporters, the format for next year still hasn't even been decided. It could expand to 16 as early as 2026. What do you make of the fluidity of the college football playoff that we saw just 1 year of the 12-team playoff? They're already making a change, and there could be a more massive change still on the way.
Well, the team that it would have made a big difference for, the Georgia Bulldogs. They would have had the bye in the first round and they would have had to play like the winner of SMU, Tennessee, I believe, if it had gone the way it was last year. Look, the rich get richer. It's going to set up to help the big conference teams. And I think it takes a little bit of the fun out of it. It's going to take a little bit of the uncertainness of it, of what makes college football kind of fun. Same time, like, hell, put 16 teams in there, put 32 teams in there. Like, give everyone a shot. Let all those little teams lose in the first round, and then you're going to end up with big teams playing for the big games down the stretch.
I'm good for 16. Let's one step at a time, one expanded step at a time. All right, Lang, enjoy
everyone in.
Have it be 64. Why not? Why stop there?
Yeah.
Enjoy your beautiful day in Florida. We'll see you when you come back. Thanks for joining us.
See you Monday.
Bye. That was Lang Whitaker, who joins us every Friday. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get into some of the WNBA action from last night. It was a rarity in the career of Caitlin Clark, but a big win for the Indiana Fever nonetheless. A big commanding win for the New York Liberty, who set a new WNBA record along the way. We'll get into that. Plus, Steve Macey and the Memphis Showboats will join us in the last segment. 2 home Showboats games left this season. We'll catch up on the state of the team when we come back.
Have you always dreamed of entertaining on the biggest stage in Memphis? The Clark Crew is looking for members to join their team for the 2025-2026 season. Clark Crew members are hardworking, high-energy entertainers who assist Grizzlies home games by hyping up the crowd and much more. Not only do they support the Grizzlies on home games, but also promote in Memphis and across the Mid-South. Open auditions are Saturday, August 9th at FedEx Forum. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions for more information and to register today. The Grizzlies, grannies, and grandpas have the right moves and are currently looking for new members to join their team for the upcoming season. These soulful seniors are a fan favorite group throughout Grizz Nation. You do not have to be a grandparent, but you must be at least 50 years old with personality, rhythm, and passion for performing. If that sounds like you, then we want to see you on Sunday, June 29th. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions for more information.
Bain drives.
Oh yeah, oh
with a knockaway.
Good defense.
Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
That's no show. Let's go.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals takes it straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
I got some Cam Ward news for you, by the way.
Let me hear it.
You talk about being able to sell some jerseys. 7 minutes ago at his introductory press conference in Nashville, Warren Moon walks in. I give you permission to wear number 1.
Oh, wow.
He hands him the number 1 jersey.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm going to give you permission to wear number 1. So he's going to have the number 1 Cam Ward jersey.
That's amazing.
We rocking the Cam Ward number 1 Titans jersey.
That's amazing.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I thought Penny was smart to handle this the way he handled it. He expressed frustration with the system, the chaotic nature of it. The price hike on eggs ain't got nothing on the price hike on basketball players. The same dude who cost you $150,000 last summer is costing you $500,000 right now. I understand his sentiment, but he stopped well short of criticizing PJ Haggerty.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We're going to do our pick 6 favorite Outkast songs in honor of Outkast being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Elevators is the most creative.
Me and you.
Yes. Your mama and your cousin too.
Every time I hear somebody say me and you, I
just go to the next one, right?
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
All right, welcome back. Some WNBA news from last night. The New York Liberty set a WNBA record with 19 threes in their win over the Chicago Sky. The Liberty beat the Sky 99-74, and 6 different players made multiple threes in the win. Natasha Cloud, who continues to look like a great fit for New York. Like how they got Natasha Cloud coming off of their championship run. She's awesome. She was 4 or 5 from 3 last night, led the team in scoring with 18 points. Kennedy Burke, 4 or 4 from 3 off the bench. Stewie, 2 of 5 from 3. Jonquel Jones, 3 of 4 from 3. Sabrina, 2 of 5 from 3. Maureen Johannes, 2 of 5 from 3. They made 19 threes on just 34 attempts. That's 55% shooting. It was a complete domination by the New York Liberty. Meanwhile, the Chicago Sky now have a 35-point loss to the Indiana Fever and a 25-point loss to the Liberty at home to start their season. According to ESPN, no WNBA team has ever been minus 60 in the first 2 games of the season. So they have made history with this brutal start. They have 40 turnovers in 2 games, which is a big piece of it. They shot 36% last night. They have not looked good.
Makes me question why you got rid of Coach Spoon in the first place. Why did you look up and say, okay, we don't like what she's got going on? Coach Weatherspoon had done a pretty good job with a young team and a collection of players who had a bit of, like, fight to them.
Right.
There was an identity with the Sky last year. Now, they weren't going to be in the playoffs. I do believe they had a losing record for much of the season. But you were going to go out there and you were going to face some physical, tough, gritty basketball players out there. And there was an identity being formed. And how many times do we talk about team's identity and franchise culture? It seemed like that was being the foundation, the groundwork for that was being laid in the Sky. It was all going, to my mind, it was all going well, and then he decided, no, we don't like that. Let's move on from her. Great, fine, that's your prerogative. But then you come out and start the season like this, and it's just, okay, what do you want? What is your expectation for what this franchise is going to be going forward?
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Marsh was brought in to essentially really start the rebuild, I guess. But then when you have Courtney Vandersloot, and we talked about this after their first game, she's on the older side of her career.
She's athlete old.
There is a drop-off in her ability to score. There is a drop-off in her ability to defend. One thing she continues to have and to harbor is a really nice passing ability, and obviously the Sky have a lot of size with both Reese and Cardoso, but when you're playing against a team like the Liberty that can match that, it's hard to get inside to them in the first place. I mean, you saw Cardoso just like begging for the ball in last night's game, and Angel Reese, like, let's get it out of the way. She really struggled. It was a horrific game for Angel Reese. It's been a tough week, and to have that game on top of it, unfortunately, drives just a lot of the losers on the internet into a state of like giddy excitement. I have no doubt she'll be better than she was last night, but 0 of 8 from the field. It's the first time in her professional career that she has not scored. And the highlight that like goes hella viral with it is her 5 offensive rebounds in one possession where she is just getting stuffed after stuff. Missed layup, stuffed, missed layup, stuffed. She's getting 5 of her, how many offensive boards did she have last night? I think 8 of her 12 rebounds came on the offensive end. She's got to be better, but right now, systematically, the Sky are just a mess, period. She is the most famous face. She's the biggest star on the Sky. And I say that with Vandersloot on the roster, but that's a testament to who Angel Reese is. I know so much of this conversation has gotten lost in the weeds of the unfair rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese because they're on different levels entirely in their professional career right now. But like, she's still a star. You cannot say that Angel Reese is, I mean, I get it. It's not on the basketball court, but she's been on the cover of Vogue. She was invited to the Met Gala twice. Like, that just shows her star power, and so she's going to be the name. And when she has a performance like last night, the crash out is going to be massive when it comes to people feeling like they're taking a victory lap because she was so ineffective.
She's a star, and we like to see, you said it's an unfair rivalry. Hell, the rivalry is what the rivalry is.
It is what it is.
Right? Like, that's what you are. And if you're a competitor, you want to be rivals with the best players in your league. We love to see in sports the plucky one finally achieve the thing that the much better one has already. We love to see that growth. I thought we did, at least, in sports where, all right, here's this plucky underdog, Rudy-esque type of thing chasing this big bad.
Can you be an underdog when you win a championship, though? Like, when the start of it, because that's the problem. The start of the rivalry came with one of them winning a championship and the other not. Which I'm not, like, that's where I think it becomes difficult to put Angel Reese in the plucky underdog category.
I think if we're comparing her to Caitlin Clark, she is.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you compare her to everybody else. Yeah, it's not like Angel Reese was player of the year. Correct me if I'm wrong, in college. Was she even player of the year in the SEC in college? Because I don't think that was the case either. Angel Reese is just... I don't think this is disrespectful to say. If it was a dude, I'd just go ahead and say it. But if it's disrespectful, charge it to my head, not to my heart. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. She's just a backyard brawler. She's just gonna go out there and fight you for possessions, fight you for her position on the court, fight you for rebounds, right? Like, that's what she is. And for whatever reason, we know the reason. We made that Caitlin Clark thing a rivalry because she was the one who would get in. She had the ovaries to get in Caitlin Clark's grill and say, no, let me rub this shit in the way that you've been doing it to teams and to opponents all season long, right? Like, that's why that exists. And that's what Angel Reese is. So if you're trying to build around Angel Reese right now, that's probably not the best way to go about building your team. I have been really disappointed. I know she was injured for large portions of last year, most of, if not all of, early on last year. I'm disappointed in what Cardoso has been so far in her WNBA career. That's the one that you're building around. That's the giant in the paint that you're supposed to build around. They need her to be much, much better. A lot of this Angel Reese woes that we're seeing and that get amplified by trolls and things of that nature, a lot of that just from a basketball standpoint, the Angel Reese struggles because she's having to do too much because they can't figure out how to play through Cardoso at all.
I want to clarify, because these conversations are difficult when it comes to her, and like genuinely trying to exist in a space of acknowledging a bad game and a bad start to the season while not opening up the door for just like unnecessary pile on. And then on the flip side of that, not trying to overcompensate by calling Angel Reese a star. What I mean is she is incredibly popular. I think that gets lost in the sauce so often. Angel Reese has I hate being this person. Angel Reese has more Instagram followers than Caitlin Clark. Like, that's a fact. Angel Reese has 4.9 million followers on Instagram. Caitlin Clark has 3.2 million. So if you want to sit here and say that Angel Reese has no influence, that's not true. So if you want to use influence over star, I get that. Star gets a little funky because when we're talking about sports, it's about how you perform on the court.
That's all
but that
that
was
matters.
not. But what I'm saying is it's not like she's just some like podunk dud who has zero factor in the sports conversation. And the reason we talk about her in the way is because of the influence she has. And so then it is amplified when she plays poorly and opens up the door for these conversations. Anyway, that's enough of that. Like, the Sky are bad, period. And they have a lot of work to do to get better. And it is difficult to look at improvement from a 35-point loss to a 25-point loss.
The Sky are bad, not because of Angel Reese.
The Sky are bad because they're poorly constructed.
Poorly constructed. Cardoso isn't playing well at all. You think about was Cardoso not a number 1 pick? Was she 2? You think about taking somebody that early, you would.
She was 2, wasn't
was she 2?
I hold on, I don't want to misspeak.
Like I'm pretty sure if she
No,
came
she was
out,
third.
she was third.
She was third.
So it was Clark and then who?
It was Clark, Cameron Brink, and then Cardoso. Brink to the Sparks.
Right, like those are the peers that you came in with, and you think Brink has been injured, but before the injury, she was showing signs of promise. Like Cardoso's got to figure this thing out, and the Sky have got to figure out how to use her.
As it pertains to the Indiana Fever, who also played last night, and the Fever Liberty game this weekend will be most excellent. I am looking forward to it. Liberty beat the Dream last night, 81-76, and January 13th, 2022 was the last time that Caitlin Clark did not make a 3 in a game. She was a sophomore at Iowa until last night, where she went 0-5 from 3 for the Indiana Fever. She had gone 42 straight games with a 3 to start her professional career. That is the longest streak that we have ever seen by a player in the WNBA. But it ends last night. It did not matter because the Indiana Fever still won. Big thanks to Natasha Howard, who some Fever fans were ready to send to Timbuktu after the previous game. You got to give them a little bit of an opportunity because Natasha Howard flexed why she is such a critical addition to this team last night. I thought her attacking Brittany Griner to make Brittany Griner pick up her 6th foul late in that game was massive by getting Brittany Griner out of the paint and opening some things up for the Fever. And this iteration of the Fever that we saw last night is like the testament to the building of this roster, because not only did Caitlin Clark not make a 3 in the game, Aaliyah Boston had a pretty bad game herself, and yet they still found a way to win. And like when they needed big shots at the end, it's Kelsey Mitchell coming up with a clutch 3. It's Caitlin Clark finding Aaliyah Boston on the post for a nice play to ultimately, give Fever the momentum to carry this out to a win. But throughout the game, it was Howard, it was Sophie Cunningham, and it was Lexi Hull who were the reason that Indiana came away with a win in Atlanta last night. And having Sophie Cunningham on this team, she comes off the bench, her and Hull both, they're like a little chaos creation tandem coming off the bench. And the defensive activity that they have, they almost throw like a mini 2-woman press at you at times, and the Dream seem to really struggle with it. I'm still interested to see how DeWanna Bonner fits offensively with this group. I think there's still some gelling to be had, but she did have 8 rebounds last night, so it's not like she's ineffective. It's not like there's no place for her in the starting line. I don't know if she'll be a starter at the end of the year. That's something to still be figured out. But anyway, I thought last night's Fever win was just kind of the exact formula that you were looking for of what do we do if Caitlin's having a bad night? What do we do if Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston are having a bad night? Okay, we have options, and that's huge for the Fever.
Options on offense. Once they figure it out, we can get it to DeWanna Bonner, and then defensively, you brought it up. With Hull and Cunningham, just create chaos on the perimeter. Oh, and by the way, on the back end, Natasha Howard, defensive player of the year, 2-time all defensive selection. I think 2-time first team all defensive selection in the WNBA. Right, like that is a player, a veteran who knows her role and how to play her role well. And so if you're creating havoc on the perimeter with your guards and she's back there to clean up any potential mistakes, she's in help side when she's supposed to be, she's great defending the post one-on-one, like that's how you do it. So Caitlin Clark now doesn't have the pressure of the on-court pressure, forget the off-court stuff, but the on-court pressure of having to be on 10 every single game, right? The pressure burst pipes. You don't have to do that every single game. You can say, all right, I had a bad game, but I trust my teammates to be able to pick up the slack. And as soon as they figure out how best to use Bonner and how to get Bonner involved in the game without Caitlin Clark on the ball so much, it's going to be real tough for teams not named Liberty Lynx to keep up with that.
I did really enjoy seeing the return of Trash Talk Caitlin Clark, because sometimes people forget, like, it's a fun little extra add-on of her game. She and Ryan Howard got into it a bit early, where Ryan Howard was like, "You're in Atlanta," and Caitlin was like, "I'm not scared of you." This is the moment, first quarter. We got a little push, a little action between the two. And then the best part is Caitlin Clark's face as she says, "I'm not scared of you." You know how we did our phrases draft last week, CJ? Yeah. She might as well have said, "Get a load of this girl. Get a load of this girl. I'm not scared of you." She looks like a cartoon face out there. Also, final note from last night. The court was awesome in Atlanta. The court that said, pay some respect to women's sports. They're going to ultimately donate this court following last night's game. But I did think it was a pretty, I think a kids center, like somewhere where kids play, but pay some respect to women's sports. You heard about it. I can unfortunately not pay some respect to Caitlin Clark's walking out from last night, and I normally wouldn't fashion shame on this show, but it feels important given that in our show open, there is a image of me in a trench coat on a day where I wore a khaki trench coat to work, and I said, "They're so hot right now." Well, apparently Caitlin Clark also got word that trench coats are so in right now. And for the sake of myself and Caitlin Clark, I would like to officially say, can trench coats be so out right now? We must stop. We must stop the Inspector Gadget trench.
She looked like,
we must stop.
Inspector Gadget. I didn't realize it was a khaki skirt. The issue is it's just too much khaki.
No, the issue is the coat. I swear.
I think if she had on.
My issue, I thought, was because I'm short in the coat, and the coat made me look like I was two people stacked up inside the coat.
Don't throw it back up, Jacob. If she had black slacks on, it would work.
Don't give Caitlin Clark another excuse to wear slacks. Put her in like a black leather pant.
Fine, black leather pant, right?
Okay.
Like black leather pant, same top with coat. I think that works.
Thanks for your fashion advice,
No
CJ.
problem.
I really appreciate it.
Maybe even white.
So I need her.
You need her to what?
Just
she can't be good at everything.
Have a better designer.
She can't be good at everything.
A better fashion assistant in this world. You're right. She can't be good at everything. That would be quite unfair. But the trench coat, we got to go away with it. I'm saying for myself. I speak this personally. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Steve Macey, he is the Memphis Showboats Vice President of Team Business and Event Ops. 2 more games for the Showboats at home this year. They have a lot of really fun deals. Great opportunity to go out with the family. And we'll also get his take on the team this year that has 2 wins. They're out of the playoffs, but things might be looking up. We'll talk to Steve Macey after a quick break. What?
Creed. By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With very special guest, Daughtry. And Mammoth. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Don't miss Creed with Daughtry and Mammoth. The Summer of '99 tour.
You've seen the Grizz line jamming on the court and rocking out on Beale Street, and this is your chance to join the best drum line in the NBA. Grizz line entertains Grizz Nation at home games and events in the Mid-South through their impressive techniques and energetic shows. If you have experience in drumming and marching and love entertaining, Grizz line is the perfect opportunity for you to combine percussion and performance. Open auditions are Saturday, August 9th at FedEx Forum. Sign up today by visiting grizzlies.com/auditions.
1, 2, 3. Ready, go.
Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
The other thing that came out this week that we were talking about innovation and Nike and all that, they dropped these $900 hyper boots that
900.
I mean, they're a recovery shoe apparently that you wear after sports, whatever.
Who's buying it? Because all the athletes that we see, they're going to get seeded this. So who's going to actually pay $900 for this?
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app. Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second-chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
Welcome back. Special guest in studio this Friday. It is Steve Macey, Vice President of Team Business and Event Ops for the Memphis Showboats.
Good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
How are you?
I am doing great. How are you doing?
Doing well, thanks.
This Showboat season is coming to an end.
It happens so fast. It's just 10 straight weeks. It's a massive sprint, and we're fortunate enough we get to play 2 home games to end it.
2 home games to end it, starting tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock.
11
kickoff.
a.m. The other one is June 1st, a week from Sunday. What exciting things do you guys have in store for fans?
Well, we decided that we were going to regroup a little bit, and we named our mascot Skipper, our CMO, our canine marketing officer, and so he kind of
Skipper's
said,
a dog for people who don't realize.
That's correct, thank you. So Skipper is a dog, and so he decided we were going to do kids 12 and under free, and then we also have $2 beers and $2 hot dogs.
That's a pretty.
See, CJ got excited about that. I should have said that to him right when I walked in the door.
So when I saw that you guys were starting the $2 hot dogs, $2 soda deal, I was like, that's a absolute steal. Have you received a lot of positive feedback?
We have.
From people
have said, really, $2? They said, yeah. I mean, it's basically free. You know, you come on in. So the kids part was we really wanted to say, families, come on and enjoy this. The games are fun. I think if you've been to a Tigers football game, they can last a long time. Our TV partners, Fox, which is also half owner of the league, and Disney, they like 3-hour windows a lot. And so our games are 3 hours. In fact, the first year when we were the USFL, after about week 3, the games are lasting 3:06, 3:07, and the president of Fox Sports had a phone call with the coaches and said, make these games 3 hours, or we'll find new coaches.
Wow.
And it was said in jest, but they found ways to make sure they were 3 hours.
Yeah.
So you can really set your clock to a game and say, hey, this can be a 3-hour game, and you can plan your day around it.
With this team, 2 wins this season. Both wins were overtime wins, and they're coming off a win.
It's even crazier than that, Jess. They were both 20-20 at the end of regulation. The home team, they were both on the road for us. The home team scored at the last minute to tie the game. And our cool overtime is you get 3 opportunities from the 5-yard line, and we were successful twice. And so both times were almost identical games for us.
Do you like those overtime rules?
I think they're the best. I talked about this the other day when you compare them to the NFL and the college game. This is the coolest overtime you have. It's like a shootout in soccer. And so there's a lot of pressure to score from the 5-yard line, that first opportunity out there. And they even do the scoreboard thing, the same thing. They got the check mark or the X when you get it right. So it's really exciting. Now, we won both times, so I really like it. If we'd lost both times, I might say, this is dumb, but it's really a cool thing.
Obviously, football it's a sacred sport in this country, Steve, and people the conversations that popped off after the announcement of flag football coming to the Olympics, and people are like, not my football, that's not my football, and I was like, I'm excited. Any kind of football is my kind of. I agree with you, and I'm ecstatic to see which NFL players decide that they want to try and go earn a gold medal, but. Sometimes it's difficult for people to see something new, and I'm just curious for the variation of things that you're trying with the UFL and with the Memphis Showboats, and be it overtime or other decisions and rule opportunities. Do you get constant feedback from the NFL, and is there kind of like a, hey, can you try this out, or we're really liking this, can you do more of this?
Yeah, so there's a great conversation between the NFL and the UFL, and they look to us. We are trying to be technology leaders, whether it's the 1st and 10. We don't bring chains out.
Right.
It's all done digitally, and there's a chip in the football, and it's a lot of stuff that I don't understand.
And we're now going to see that. I think they're still going to have the chains.
And we have changes
year.
backup just in
Right.
case something doesn't work. But I think that's the type of technology they're looking at. How do we do this? And I think as time evolves, we're going to continue to evolve. And we're going to be able to do some data like how fast is the football spinning when a quarterback throws it? How hard? What was the smash factor, using a golf term, on a kick? We're going to see some more of those things. How fast was the guy running on a reverse, whatever, and really see some of that data come out and let people see a little more behind the scenes. And I think that's been one of the really cool things about the UFL is the technology behind it.
I love the technology, and from a standpoint of just allowing it to add to the game instead of this kind of weird, quirky stuff. The NBA playoffs, I don't know if you've been watching. I don't know if you've seen this, CJ. We haven't talked about it. But they keep doing these like digital generated replays of things. Like the Chet Holmgren dunk last night, they had a digitized version. I just want to see the replay of it. Like I appreciate the real piece of it.
I saw that, didn't like it, but the shot charts. Remember,
I don't like where they're making the they had one for Julius Randle, and there were like 8 Julius Randles
I love it
one
with
night.
the person like actually going through, so you see exactly how they ended up missing and or making the shots that they've taken.
I might like it more if they took it off when they showed they had the little animation and then put a dot where the shot ended up, instead of it turning into like 8 versions of that player standing on the court.
Gotcha.
Maybe it's something to be worked upon. But I do appreciate the idea of technology forward thinking and figuring out ways to advance the game in a fun way and in an no one likes to be educated, but an educational way.
No,
I
think that is a big part of what the UFL is. It's a lot of access. We talk about all the time. It's fan access, whether it's at the stadium itself or if you're watching it on TV. When there's an instant replay, our good friend Mike Pereira is on the video board at the games, and you're getting to see him look at the replay and decide in real time what's going to happen with that. And so the fans are already cheering or booing before the referee even announces it because they've seen it in real time, and you get to see that. If you're watching it on TV, you get to see the coaches call plays, and you get to know exactly what's coming. You see interviews on the sideline right after play happens. It's the type of access that I think is growing the game of football. I think it helps people understand it better. Like even myself, I'm in it, but I watch football. I don't know it. My father-in-law used to come to practices when I was at New Mexico State, and we would go to spring practice, and he would say, "Uh-oh," before the play even happened, knowing what was happening. I said, "What'd you see?" He goes, "Well, that safety was cheating up, and you can see they got man-to-man coverage outside." I don't see that, but that's what I think the UFL is doing for people. It's allowing them to see the game a little bit closer to how the coaches perceive the game.
Which one of these different things, right? The NFL is great. NFL does what they do. You guys do what you do. From a technology standpoint, a rule standpoint, which one of these, when you were first presented with it, blew your mind? Like, wait, what we're going to be doing? How is this even possible?
I think CJ, the biggest thing is the extra points, right? You can get 1, 2, or 3 points, but there's no kicking. And I think one of the feedback, Jess, you asked it earlier, feedback from fans about some of the new things we're doing. People are really confused about not being able to kick for 1 point and extra points. And this is me personally. I'm hopeful that we'll go back and allow that. I still think it's cool that you can have 1, 2, or 3 points, because then a 9-point game is still a 1-possession game. But I'd like for a kick to be an option instead of only having so our rules are it's 1 point from the 2-yard line, 2 points from the 5, or 3 points from the 10-yard line. That's fine, but I'd like to add the kick back. Even if it's a harder kick like the NFL where it's basically a 35-yarder, I'd like that because I think that looks more like football.
That takes me back to that people are so caught up in what they know that when there's something that drastically veers off from the traditional game, they're like, this isn't the sport that I
And I think,
play.
Jess, we have seen that. I mean, CJ, the same thing. We've seen our fans, at least talking to me, have said, I don't like the extra point rule not kicking. And they really don't like the 4th and 12 in lieu of a onside kick. So you get a 4th and 12 from your own 28, and you just play it from there. If you get it, you keep the ball. If you don't, it goes over to the other team. And people go, that's not football, right? And I think that the idea there is so that they can have close games, and that the onside kicks are almost never achieved, and this thing gives you a little better chance of getting it. And look, you can only do it the last 5 minutes in the fourth quarter if you're down. And so there's something that's fun about it.
Yeah.
We've lost a game because of that, so I hate that part. Again, this is going back to me not liking rules that don't help me.
You get a personal attachment to
Yep.
certain things.
I love the 4th and 12, and I would like it to be all game, where no matter what, if you're rolling, you've got momentum on your side, and you just finished scoring, and you're up, you say, you know what? To hell with it. From the 28, offense back out there. Let's keep this thing rolling. And if you have the courage to do that, I think you should be rewarded for it. I like that.
I completely agree. I am curious. I assume one of the biggest challenges, and if I'm wrong, correct me, but the challenge of the team not being in the city.
It's
that
hard.
It exists
Yep.
within. So it's the Memphis Showboats, but they do not live here. This team is not around the area. How do you continue to fight through that? What are the conversations around the league about how to continue to approach that specific challenge?
So we're about sustainability, and that's the most important thing. This is the first time a spring league has worked.
Okay.
This is the 8th attempt at pro football in Memphis. First time we've ever played a 3rd season. So you kind of look at that and you go, the trade-off is we have a team, and it's built for the long term. We still had a couple years left on TV deals. The league's just built their headquarters in Arlington, Texas. So it's here to stay. That's the important part. Yes, as someone who's got marketing as part of his title, I want the team here. I want my coach here all the time. But most importantly, I want the Showboats to continue. And so this is where we are as a league right now. There's a lot of cost savings by having all 8 teams training in Arlington, being in Arlington. There's economies of scale with staff that if you break them off and they have to go to the 8 different markets, you're basically multiplying a lot of people. And that cost that goes up, and right now we're just not there from a revenue standpoint to overcome those costs. So yes, do I want my team here? Heck yeah. But I want the Showboats to continue, and so as we grow it, this is part of the growing pains of that. And it would be a heck of a lot easier to market if they were here, but right now we're, like today, the team flies in today for our game tomorrow, and we're going to the Alpha Omega House, which is a homeless shelter for veterans. And it's our Hats Off to Heroes game tomorrow, and we're honoring military and first responders. And so this is the way we have our coach is a former Marine, so he'll be there helping to serve dinner along with a few of our players.
I saw they were at the zoo. Every time they're here, it's like trying to get them in front of some Memphis-specific place. Do they still fly with their opponent?
They do.
That's
so
wild.
they load. So the home team gets to sit in the front of the plane. This is fascinating to me. The visiting team has to sit in the back of the plane. So they load them first. They've got kind of a walled-off area. Then the home team loads, and the same thing when they land at the airport. Home team gets off, gets on their buses. Visiting team gets off, gets on their buses, and go to their separate hotels. And then after the game, it's the same thing. The visiting team loads first. Home team loads second, they fly back to Arlington.
And then they're here, and they play the game, and they go back. And it's such an interesting concept. And obviously, yes, I think the bottom line is to have a healthy league, and the hope is to eventually get to a point where a team is able to be in the city that it's at. But it also represents, just like the streamlined nature of the future. We talk so much about like the future of things.
Yeah.
And everyone's trying to save money someplace. And so for now, this works. But because people aren't able to get, I would say, as attached maybe emotionally to a team as if they were around each and every week. This team is 2-6, and so some people just record watch, right? They're like 2-6, they're out of the playoffs. Like, why should I care about the Memphis Showboats? So I'm asking you, why should they care about the Memphis Showboats?
It's professional football. There's only 8 of them, and I talk about this with the golf tournament as well. There's only 3 playoffs in golf. That's why you should care, right? I mean, this is such a unique thing that Memphis has. For us, as a city, as a community, this is good for our community to have this. It's a 3-hour commercial about Memphis. Every of those 5 home games, it's a big deal. Why you should care? I think when we have unique things in the city, it's a big deal. It's why we have the festivals in the spring. It's why we have the Grizzlies. It's why we have the Tigers. These are things that when someone's looking at Memphis, whether they want to move here or bring their business here, all of these things matter. They're all check marks. You can say, look, this is an important piece of our city. It's the fabric of our city. It's another thing for people to be able to do and enjoy and watch. And I'll be blunt and say our games are really fun. And people have always tell us, and look, I don't have enough people coming yet. We're growing that, and we're trying to get it there. And I think winning would obviously help us a lot. But people go, man, I wish we'd have won, but I had a lot of fun. The game was really, really fun, but I wish we'd have done better in the game. That's pretty much what everybody says, from our season ticket members to people that come for a first time. They just go, man, that was really a good time. And so that's what we're continuing to try to build, is be an entertainment option, something for families to be able to do, safe, fun thing to do that they can walk away and go, hey, I got something cool. The players interacted with us on the sidelines. They recognized us, and I think that's why it matters.
Yeah. And the team's gotten better. You would
They
say.
have. We've gone through some turmoil with a couple coaching
Yep.
changes. I mean, we are now on our 4th head coach in 3 years, and that's been part of it. It's been hard to get that continuity, but Coach Turner is awesome. As I mentioned earlier, he's a former Marine. He doesn't mince words. He just says flat out what's on his mind. His post-game press conferences are can't miss things. Because you just walk in, he goes, well, I screwed this up, and I messed this up, and I should have done this, and these guys needed to get better. I mean, he's just awesome in the post-game press conference.
Love to hear it. Showboats tomorrow, 11 a.m. $2 hot dogs.
$2 hot dogs, $2 beers.
Free kids.
Kids are free.
What more could you ask for?
It's easy.
It's supposed to be a nice day.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I'm
Hey,
the weather-
everybody ignore
I'm
the weather reports and come to
meteorologist.
Simmons
ignore.
Bank Liberty Stadium, please.
All right, Steve, thanks for joining us on this Friday to wrap up the week. Thank you all for joining us all week. We will be back on Monday. We will have conference finals to get through. More big WNBA action from the weekend as well. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you then. Bye.